Hey everyone! I'm trying to do tea time with Jen on Thursdays. Thursdays tea time with Jen. So grab a cup of tea or coffee and let's have a little chat. These are just Jen's random thoughts. I'm drinking peppermint tea because I'm still not on caffeine. I gave it up August 14th because it was contraindicated with my chemo, and I haven't picked it up again even though it's been a month. I'm kind of like, well, I gave it up. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm going to hold off to pick it up again. All right. So my random thought today is I'm lucky that I've had cancer 4 times. And it seems like an oxymoron, and it seems like a contraindicated or contradictory to say something like that. It seems kind of ridiculous because cancer is no picnic. And certainly the cancer treatment is not. And it's life-threatening. It's catastrophic. It's traumatizing. The treatment sucks. And I don't know what else to say about it, but I'm reminded that I'm lucky to be sitting here after, I think it's 18 or 19 years, right? My first diagnosis, I think, was 2005. And it hasn't been like I was a patient for all that time. I was a patient. I got treated. I got a clean bill of health. They said, go on your way. I was NED. And I walked away. And then many years later, I got a new diagnosis. And then I was treated. And then I walked away. And similarly. And so I've had 3 different types of cancer. This one right now is a recurrence of breast cancer. But before that, they were 3 unique cancers. And I was lucky, in fact, to be treated and get it and no evidence of disease and move on with my life. And that makes me really lucky. And, you know, in this world of YouTube, I watched along with other cancer survivors, and some who did not survive were not lucky in that sense. And that made me question, why have I been so lucky all these years and all these recurrences and all these different experiences with cancer? So I don't know. Part of it, I think I've said before, is I'm very sensitive to my body and I listen, and then I tell my doctor all the time when I don't feel right. And I think that makes a difference because most of my cancers have been early detection, low staging. And I think the lower stage you are, for most cancers, that makes a fairly significant difference to the success. But we're also lucky in different ways, right? So another thing that we're lucky in general is the technology, the medical progressions, and the technology that allows them to, even though the chemo sucks and the antibodies. But for example, my first treatment in 2005 was chemo, all chemo. And my subsequent treatments have chemo and antibodies or immunotherapies that specifically target the type of cancer that I have in some way or another, right? So I've talked fairly extensively about the HER2 receptors and the antibodies that are interrupting those receptors and preventing the cancer from replicating quickly in this breast cancer. But I also took an immunotherapy for lymphoma that prevented that specifically went in and attacked those lymphoma cells versus just general chemo that attacks all the fast-growing cells. And they both have a place in the treatment plan, but just the advances in medical technology have been fairly remarkable. And I've said even here that if I had had this breast cancer 20, 30 years ago, it was a more certain death sentence, no matter your staging, because this cancer is fast-growing and they didn't have a way to stop that growth. So these antibodies make a massive difference in the success of the chemotherapy. So, you know, I actually saw a comment today, I think, on one of my videos from another woman who had metastatic breast cancer. And she said she's been taking these antibodies for many years. I forget now if she said 10 or 12, or it was a lot of years. And they've been keeping her alive, right? She has stage 4. It's fatal, terminal, but it's not killing me right now. And then I go back to the whole thing of, well, we're all going to die. Some of us know when and some of us don't. But the whole thought process So back to lucky. So I'm lucky that the medical technology exists that keeps me alive, and many of us, right? And then beyond that, I'm lucky because I think that when you have a catastrophic illness, whether it's fatal or not, it does change your outlook, right? I used to end my videos with "Every day's a gift, to live it," and I really meant it in my heart that every day that we're living has been gifted to us, and part of that attitude is because I faced that mortality, right? When you hear the word cancer, it's not a good feeling, and it's scary, and you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And, you know, do I believe that I'm going to die earlier because of cancer? Yes. And why do I think that? Because I've done the chemotherapy many times, and every time you take the chemotherapy into your body, it's impacting your longevity. So do I think I'm going to die at 60 or 70? Maybe not. Maybe I'm living to 80 or 85. But could I have lived to 100 if I hadn't had to take all this chemotherapy? Maybe. My grandma lived to 100. So I'm not saying I'm dying tomorrow. But, you know, there is a price to be paid for this technology and this medicine, which I call poison. And I'm sure that I'm paying that price. But it is allowing me many, many more years with my family, right? If the first cancer 20 years ago hadn't been treated, I wouldn't be here to talk to you guys. So it is what it is. But the attitude about how do I articulate this nicely? The change in attitude because of your mortality, the reality of your mortality, I think you don't see that every time, right? There, I follow lots of Instagram and YouTubers, and in the young adult AYA groups, there's really, they don't get that appreciation for life. They're mad that their childhood and their life, as they know it, has been stolen. Their opportunity to have children and all kinds of stuff, right? So, and I agree, right? That sucks. And even for me, it sucks. It's not fun to have cancer or to be treated for cancer. But my first cancer, I'd already had 2 children. I was married and in a solid relationship, lovely house, good job, all those things, good health insurance. And that allowed me to appreciate those other things. But many people don't have those opportunities, or they can't work anymore, right? Again, as I mentioned, I've been so lucky to have cancer, be treated, be fine for many years, get cancer again, be treated, be fine for many years. That allows me to live my life. So lucky. So those were my thoughts for today. What do you guys think? Are we lucky to have cancer or not so much? And it's both sides, right? I guess it's how much is lucky and how much is not lucky if you had to give it a percentage. What are your thoughts? And if you have any ideas for any of these tea times, I'm going to try and do it once a week. Put some ideas down below, and I'll be happy to give you my thoughts on them. Talk to you soon. Tomorrow's going to be a better day.